One of the promises made by the Senegalese President, Diomaye Faye, during his presidential campaign was that he planned to bring Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso back to ECOWAS. On May 7th, Faye sent a direct address to Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, saying that, "I am convinced that we must continue to act in solidarity within the ECOWAS space, make the necessary reforms, and work to dispel the misunderstandings that are bound to arise." He added that ECOWAS is a formidable tool for integration that we will gain by preserving. And then recently, President Faye paid a visit to the chairman of the regional bloc, ECOWAS, the Nigerian President, Bola Tinubu, and the President of Ghana, Akufo-Addo. The purpose of the visit was to affirm his commitment to bringing the three Sahel nations back to the regional bloc. During his meeting with the President Tinubu, the president stated that, "As the chairman of ECOWAS, I am inviting you to collaborate and meet those other brothers, to persuade them to come back to the fold." And, in reply, President Faye stated that, "We can discuss with our brothers and convince them to come back into the fold, to come back and share our common democratic values and what we stand for." Similarly, during his meeting with the President of Ghana, President Akufo-Addo told the press that President Faye had demonstrated commitment to ECOWAS efforts to bring the three countries to the table for further talks and back to the bloc. He added that, "We are lucky to have a new leader in place, because I think he is also going to help us to try and resolve the big problem that we have in the ECOWAS community." After the meeting, President Faye told the press that he welcomes the challenge to help reconcile ECOWAS with Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. ECOWAS is going through difficult times, but we are going to do all we can to consolidate the gains made in integration in a spirit of common, fraternal solidarity, he said. Following his visit to Nigeria and Ghana, Faye recently paid a visit to Burkina Faso and Mali, and he also intends to visit Niger. The aim of the visit, as we all know, is to try and convince the three Sahel nations to change their decision and rejoin the regional bloc. Now, what does this tell us? It tells us that not only is President Faye trying to position himself as a regional leader, but he is embarking on this journey on behalf of ECOWAS, right? However, President Faye shocked everyone with the statement he made during his meeting with the Malian junta, Assimi Goïta, and Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso. Without mincing words, President Faye told everyone present that he was not a mediator for ECOWAS. In his own words, "I will always rectify and say that I am not a mediator for ECOWAS, not at all. I am not mandated by any ECOWAS body. I have never served in any ECOWAS meeting." This is interesting because since he came into the political scene, he has projected himself as a mediator for ECOWAS, trying to reconcile Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger with the regional bloc. So, why did he come out to say that he is not a mediator? Is it a tactic to make the leaders of these nations listen to him, or is he scared of them? What's even more interesting is that President Faye emphasized that the major purpose of his visit was to strengthen bilateral relations between Senegal and Mali and not play the role of mediator. Accompanied by a delegation including key ministers, Faye discussed various issues of common interest with Mali's president, including economic cooperation, cross-border security, and development projects. Mali is a crucial partner for Senegal. Our two nations share a common history and common challenges, and we must work together to ensure the stability and prosperity of our region, he said. The same thing also occurred in Burkina Faso. Instead of Faye trying to convince Ibrahim Traoré to come back to the regional bloc, President Faye focused the discussion primarily on strengthening bilateral cooperation and issues of common interest. Specifically, Faye announced the visit as a trip of friendship and work, demonstrating the motivations behind his trip. Among the priority themes of the visit were the challenges shared by the two countries in the field of security, irregular immigration, and trafficking in human beings and illicit substances, as well as the desire to strengthen the commercial axis that connects the capitals of the two countries, Dakar to Ouagadougou, and to further develop bilateral exchanges and cooperation. So, if he did not intend to play the role of ECOWAS mediator, why then did he profess otherwise? Why did he tell both the Nigerian and Ghanaian president that he remains committed to reconciling the Sahel nations and ECOWAS? Although Faye said he is not a mediator for ECOWAS, he expressed support for ECOWAS' efforts to resolve regional crises, particularly those linked to leaving the grouping. He told the Malian state radio that he raised the question of remaining in the regional bloc ECOWAS with President Assimi Goïta. In his own words, "I understand the Malian position, which, although rigid, is not totally inflexible. This is just a diplomatic way of saying that Mali refused to change its decision." Faye also discussed the subject of ECOWAS with Ibrahim Traoré, and he got a similar response as that of the Malian president. He said, "I understand today that the positions are somewhat fixed, but I perceive in each of these positions a window of opening that allows us to establish a thread of dialogue." From the words rigid and fixed, we can conclude that both Mali and Burkina Faso refuse to change their mind. To prove that President Faye was playing at being diplomatic, his next statement says each country should play an active and independent role in resolving its own problems while benefiting from the support of regional organizations. The regional organizations here obviously mean either ECOWAS or the AES. Faye also added that it is important that we respect the sovereignty of each nation and support local initiatives for peace and stability. Obviously, this statement was directed at ECOWAS, urging the bloc to respect the sovereignty of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso and allow them to do what they want, even if it means leaving the bloc. President Faye then called for regional solidarity and cooperation, stressing that the stability of our region depends on our ability to work together. We must join forces to tackle common challenges such as terrorism, climate change, and poverty. This is diplomacy at its finest. Obviously, President Faye is trying to make both sides happy by visiting both the Nigerian and Ghanaian president before his visit to the Sahel countries and assuring them of his commitment to reconciling the Sahel nations and the regional bloc. President Faye has projected himself as a regional leader committed to the growth and development of the region. This is why he also ensured to brush the issue of returning to the bloc with the president of Burkina Faso and the president of Mali. However, at the same time, President Faye tried not to step on the toes of the military juntas of Mali and Burkina Faso by publicly declaring that he is not a mediator for the regional bloc. Instead, he said that he came to strengthen diplomatic ties between Senegal and the two nations. This is a big blow to ECOWAS leaders, who saw President Faye as someone who was committed to reconciling ECOWAS with the Sahel nations. Since Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso announced their withdrawal from the bloc in January, the regional bloc has been trying to make them reverse their decision. This is because the withdrawal of the three Sahelian countries has had a significant impact on the regional bloc's balances, taking into account that these countries produce almost 12% of the regional GDP and represent 17.4% of its 425 million inhabitants. To show how important Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso is to the bloc, at the end of February, only a month after the announcement of the three countries' defection from the body, the three AES countries obtained a partial but significant lifting of the sanctions commercial measures imposed on them after their respective coups d'état. This is because the sanctions imposed on them greatly affected regional trade. So what will ECOWAS do? Regardless of their next plan of action, the fact is that there is a high possibility that Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are never going to return to the regional bloc. Just a few days ago, the Prime Minister of Mali extended an invitation to members of ECOWAS for them to join the AES, an alliance created as an alternative to the regional bloc. If the AES is already open to accepting new members, it means that its members are in no way going to shut down the bloc. It would be very interesting in the coming months to see how the regional bloc, ECOWAS, which has been in existence for 5 decades, would fare. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.